Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Dad. Dad. Yeah.
And click an ask and you can cut anytime except.
Can you stop so I can take a picture?
Shut up!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are you? Welcome back. This is Alone Together Pittsburgh. We are streaming at you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, episode 130 something of our little tour de force here of
32.
130. Thank you, Dave. Episode 132, week 43. Week 43, episode 132 of the little streaming show that could, perhaps. This is a big night here on the show. Not only do we have a very special 5 minutes with Natalie Bencivenga, we've got some other stuff happening here tonight. Before we get into the stuff here, just so you know, we have Bunny Cam is in full effect tonight, and Bunny is actually there tonight. Bunny Cam was in full effect last night, but Bunny did not stay for the show. Bunny kind of knows that she's on camera right now, but we will be checking in periodically with what Bunny's doing and what she's doing with that bone, because that's the kind of show we are here at Alone Together Pittsburgh. Anyway, before we get into like the meat and potatoes of the show, below me right now is our Venmo. It is @TogetherPGH. We would greatly appreciate it if you could kick in $1 or $2. We know times are tough right now. We wouldn't be doing this show if they weren't. So anything you can give would be great. It goes directly to the artists involved with the show, and we would definitely thank you for it. And if you give over $500, you get to be a guest on Alone Together Pittsburgh. Somebody's going to bite on that eventually. Bunny, what do you think? All right, Bunny thinks I should move on. It was kind of a crazy. It's been a crazy world out there for us in Pittsburgh. And in the United States of America right now, man. It is crazy what's happening right now. It is lots of hard turns happening. But just to go on, we wouldn't be doing this show if it wasn't for the coronavirus and COVID-19. The COVID-19 numbers, we were back in the 900s. I think we were like 930-something in Allegheny County for today, which is up, obviously, from yesterday. So we need to lock it in, everybody. And if you're watching this show, if you've ever seen it before, you know we are big proponents of wearing a mask. So please, just put your masks on. If you're going to see people, if you have to see people, try to do it outside and keep the social distance thing happening. 6 feet, keeping it there. You got to do what you're doing. Go ahead and do it. Wear the masks. Keep the distance. Keep washing your hands, too. It's no joke. So get on that. Bruce Springsteen would agree with me.
Put on a fucking mask.
Thanks,
Coffee.
What'd you say, Dave?
I just said I just shouted out coffee for being on point there.
You're ready, dude. You are on point, my friend. Well, anyway, it's Friday, all right, which means we got through another week, the first week of 2021. So congrats, everybody. We're still here. We're still doing it. We've had a great week of shows. It's been wonderful. If you want to go back, there were some glitches, but we are back on the YouTubes if you want to watch previous episodes, or on Facebook. So that is good. Dave, Pete, do we have an in-show poll for tonight?
I got nothing.
No in-show polls for tonight. Okay.
You got one? I don't know. You want to do one?
Yeah, let's think about doing one.
What do you want to do?
What's going on in the world here right now? Do you want to go like? Do you want to go like TikTok versus Twitter?
Parler versus
Twitter? MySpace versus
I just signed
Twitter?
up for a Parler account because I want to see if Donald Trump goes on there.
Is that where he's going? Yeah. So apparently, there's a 5-year curve on stuff and on people to say what they think, and so Twitter has now started banning people for life from their platform for doing stuff they've been doing for 4 years. So you got 4 years. If you're going to start telling lies right now, you've got 4 years until they start taking you down. So the clock's ticking on everybody that's doing what they're doing. So anyway, okay, so I just heard from a voice in my ear that Google just shut down Parler.
No way.
So
really?
That I got it from the eye in the sky that doesn't lie. Natalie Bencivenga I just got word
Like
from Natalie.
just now?
I guess so. Should we bring out Natalie?
Is this true?
Natalie, what's
They
happening?
just shut it down. Google just shut down Parler.
We are
right
breaking
now.
news.
We are breaking news right now. Yes, so they have shut it down. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody, this is Natalie. She's going to be coming out here in a couple of minutes.
I'm like, no, Patrick, it's happening right now. Yeah.
I saw the ding go off, and I'm like, hold on, folks, stop the presses when we're talking about some witty banter.
Yes. So Parler is no more. So their cockroaches have to find another rock to hide under because that one is no longer available to them.
I literally just set up a Parler account before we jumped on the show.
Sorry.
I wanted to see.
Is that why you're wearing that nice button-down shirt?
Yeah, I thought I'd dress up for Parler.
That's what I thought
It's not that nice.
You have to throw away your 8-track player too, Pete. Sorry, buddy.
So Trump's, I think, looking for like a MySpace account now or something.
You know what? He better get a band together. But anyway, all right, okay, good. So thank you, Natalie, for
You're welcome.
for bringing
I'll
us in
stay on
there.
just
Is that mirror new?
Yes, thank you for noticing.
Yeah,
New as in I found it in the basement and my husband hung it up.
that's so nice.
I love when that happens. Thank you.
That's teamwork. That's what they say makes the dream work.
It's true. It's
So
true.
all right, cool. All right, so Pete, Natalie, Dave.
Yeah.
So here's something else we've got going on the show right now. I mean, there's lots of news in the world, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it shortly. But we have a little thing called the Engine House 25 Winery Jagoff poll. Okay, it's
I've
been
heard of
going
it.
on since March. The finals are among us. Tonight is the night. Do we okay, call the winner now, or do
No.
we wait until maybe the end of the show, or maybe even next week? To call the winner. What are your thoughts?
You know, I feel like everything has been so suspenseful and my anxiety has been up so much. I don't know if I can wait much longer to hear this end of the poll. Up until maybe the end of the show. I don't think you can that you can do that to everybody and wait a whole other week. It's too much.
Yeah, I think Natalie might be correct. Let's kick this can to the end of the show.
Yeah.
To the second half hour
There you
of
go.
the show anyway. But folks, to let you know, the voting continues. You can vote now. It is the finals. Dave, tell them who are doing battle right now in the finals.
Hey, Pittsburgh, this is your old buddy, Dave Mansueto. I love you. I think you're the best. The Jag-off is for you. When I see you and you walk down the street, I say, there goes a nice Jag. A real friendly Jag. A Jag I can get behind. Not one of those jerky Jags, just the best Jags. We say good things about Jags in Pittsburgh. We love Jags. That's why we did the Jag off. We never wanted the Jag off to end. We never wanted the Jag off to begin in the first place. We got stuck here. Why are we still doing this? When can we end this prison, this purgatory? Maybe if people get their crap together. Well, 2021, here's to you.
And who was doing battle? Dave. So Bunny's not impressed. But I will say, Dave touched on it. We genuinely love everyone who's been on the poll. I mean, I would love to be able to bring up the poll, how it started and where it went, and kind of go through everybody, all the Pittsburgh-centric things that were on this.
Oh, do you say, Patrick? Is that what you... Whoa!
Whoa! This is it. Dave.
Merry Christmas, Patrick Jordan.
Did you find the real thing? Let's start off in the SAS side bracket there. There you go. Let's look at that one. So look at how this thing started, okay? It was Bill Peduto's beard. We had sudden death. Franco Harris's beard. What happened, Dave? I can't see. Arnold Palmer versus the Arnold Palmer. There we go. Armand's fish sandwich versus BBT pierogies. Donnie Irish versus the Clarks. House Guest versus Silence of the Lambs. Sheets and Get Go. I mean, the Laser Loop and Log Jammer, Big Mac to Cero's Burger. They all did battle. They went against each other. We never thought that striking distance into Cero's would get as far as they did, but they did. Then they went to the final four. Go up to that northern bracket, the north side bracket there, Dave. I mean, it was look at how these things started. And they did battle against Franco's beard, Peduto's beard. This Is Us versus Mr. Belvedere. Two fictional shows that were supposedly set in Pittsburgh, both shot in Los Angeles. Three Rivers Stadium, Civic Arena, Turkey, Devonshire, fries on salads, cookie tables, Permane sandwich, Red Up, In-At, Mr. Yuck, Sex Machine and Pinhead, the smiley emoji. All these Pittsburgh things did battle against each other. And here we are. Let's go to the other bracket. What the hell while we're wrapping through here. Look at this. Keaton Goldblum, Flashdance Dawn of the Dead, Chesney Parking Lot versus Pete's favorite Little Italy days, Timmy from Gooskies and Jack Lambert, the Jagger Bush versus Nebby, Daniel Tiger versus King Friday, that broke hearts, Sinkhole Bus versus Parking Chair, Ann Dillard versus Michael Chabon. Writers, literary, it got crazy with Nebby versus Parking Chair. I'm just saying. Let's keep scrolling down. Let's go down to the East End bracket. We had Yins versus Yuns, the Bat, Bernal Tort versus the Eaton Park Smiley Cookie, Deer Hunter, Inspector Gadget, Bruno versus Kurt Angle, who's in the finals now. Jonas Salk versus Tom Sarzel, Pittsburgh Left versus Kennywood's Open. It was amazing. Me versus me. It was an amazing thing here. Jeremiah likes the Sheets Tater Tot Burrito. But here we are, folks, at the finals. The cookie table, the wedding cookie table versus Kurt Angle, the champion of champions. So you guys right now have time. Go to togetherpgh.com/vote. You have about a half hour to get this. It is close. Dave, how close is it right now?
I don't want to say, but I'm just going to say that it's not pretty. It's not pretty. It's a knockdown, drag out, fist to fist, kick to kick, kiss to kiss, hug to hug, handshake to handshake, and it's brutal. So this is the last chance. When we say closing time,
I can't believe it's ending.
It's closing time.
This has been a staple since the first week of Alone Together. 42 weeks ago, we probably started doing this thing.
Did you have a favorite, Patrick?
I can't believe the whole poll was my favorite, man. I mean, what ended up happening is the real showdowns were happening at about month 6 when we had the Lil Jagoff poll, the in-show polls, doing battle against each other to get into this poll, because that's when like some of the there was over 60, 70 different things trying to get into this from that. So I mean, I feel like the Lil Jagoff poll, like the minor league team to get into the big leagues was big. I mean, basically my favorite thing in the whole poll was Pittsburgh, man, because genuinely kind of love everything that's been on this poll in one way or another, from Bill Peduto's beard to a bus that fell into a sinkhole. Just saying. What about you, Pete? Okay, what about you, Dave?
I was gonna say the Keaton Goldblum was the first one of the first ones was my favorite.
it was hot. I mean, people were coming in pretty fiery for that one. That one was like a 2-vote winner. I mean, Keaton barely eked that one out. People were still pissed about that, brokenhearted. See, we weren't trying to break hearts. You know, we started off as this being.
We maybe kind of were in
We
some
weren't trying to, but we just wanted to get people. You know, it was something. To
It
do.
wasn't. I don't think it's hearts we were breaking. We were busting something else, and it wasn't hearts, right?
Bada bing, bada bap. Okay, so that's it. So tonight's the night. It's a bittersweet pill to end this. Maybe we'll start something else. But before we get into other things, I want to tell you who sponsored the Jagoff poll, and that would be Engine House 25 Winery. If you go to eh25.com, you can find out a fantastic selection of wines that they have there. I would put these wines against any wines from anywhere. They're right there where the Strip District meets Lawrenceville, 3339 Penn Avenue. They're doing free delivery during the pandemic. That's wine delivered to your door. All right. If you're nervous about going to the liquor store, you don't want to wait in line at the state store, boom. They also have curbside. So you can order in advance, pay for it. They come out, contactless, boom. If you go up to the top there's the wine. It's fantastic. They've also got some killer swag. Okay, we're talking T-shirts. We're talking sweatshirts from the winery. It is also home to the Roberto Clemente Museum. All right, so you've got lots of that stuff. They even have a bottle of wine, the Clemente Cab. The money goes to the Clemente Museum. So get in on that. I mean, look at these labels are all done in-house. Some of the best wine you're going to have. And if you tell them that you found out about it from Alone Together Pittsburgh, you'll receive $5 off per bottle. That's not per case. That's $5 off per bottle. That is a serious percentage off when you do this thing. So you buy a whole case of wine, you're saving $50-$60. We've all had the wine. We love it. We recommend you get on there too. There's also Lola's Eatery is attached to there too. They've got some killer stuff. If you want to put in some orders for donuts, bagels, crazy foods, wine slushies to go, you can get it on that. And the Roberto Clemente Museum, of course. Because on New Year's Eve, everybody kind of was remembering that was the anniversary that Roberto Clemente had passed when the plane went down. So get on that right there, eh25.com. Tell them that Alone Together Pittsburgh sent you. You will not regret it. And plus the $5 off per bottle. I mean, you should might as well get 2 bottles, I think. But the swag is fantastic. Look at that, the corkscrew with the EH25 on it. I got one. I got a T-shirt right over there. I was supposed to wear it here, but I didn't have time to put it on because it's the 130-something episode, but my tech crashed right before we came on. But that's all. All right, so there it is. Get on that and get your voting on right now. We'll be checking in periodically over the next 20 minutes or so. Get your votes in. This is it. Last shot. Wedding cookie table versus Kurt Angle, who won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. All right, so all that aside, Pete, Dave, is there anything else we want to talk about tonight before we get to our favorite Friday night segment? Okay, Pete can do stuff with his eyebrows. Bunny, you all right? Bunny's feeling it. Dave, anything else? Did you have any experiences today?
I went up to
Ricky, go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say I went up to Clear Creek herb farm today.
Ah, all right. And how'd that go? I love that. They're fantastic up there.
It was good. I hung out with Rusty for a while.
Rusty's the man.
Yeah, we went up. We talked mushrooms for a while. We bought a bunch of herbs. My wife got a couple mushroom books.
It's funny.
Yeah.
We were talking about mushrooms last night.
Yep.
Go on.
She's an enthusiast. So they talked for maybe about 45 minutes to an hour about mushrooms, and then he gave us a tour of the space, which was cool. We got to walk around and see all their different logs and their different, like, they've got a shiitake area and a mayaki area and they have like an oyster area, and then they have.
Did you buy a log?
We forgot to buy a log, but we bought so much other stuff. Like I got some chaga, which I've never tried, so I'm making the tea right now.
I could see you losing your mind at that place. And
we kind of didn't want to leave.
Yeah, I can
That's
see
why
that.
Bunny's sleeping right now, because she got to run around up there for about an hour.
That's like your Graceland. And by the way, happy birthday to Elvis Presley. But go on. And David Bowie.
Thank you.
But go on.
Yeah, that was yesterday, right? Bowie's.
Yeah, Elvis and Bowie the same.
It is the same. I didn't know there was.
Yeah.
Did you watch like My Blue Heaven or Blue Hawaii or any of the?
My Blue Heaven is Steve
Blue
Martin.
Happy Days. You watch Happy Days.
Paradise Hawaiian Style. That's the other one.
Blue Hawaiian.
No, there's Blue
Hawaii.
Hawaii, but then there's Paradise Hawaiian style too.
Oh, that's an Elvis movie?
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Bubba Hotep. You watch Bubba Hotep?
Bubba Hotep is a surprisingly good movie.
But
I
that's
think
not
it's fantastic.
technically an Elvis movie.
Well, it's not technically an Elvis movie, but it could be. The spirit of Elvis. I mean, it's Elvis. I mean, what's that? 666 miles to Graceland. What was that? 30,000 miles to Graceland. What was the movie that came out about 20 years ago? It was like Kurt Russell reprised Elvis. It was a bunch of Elvis impersonators that robbed banks and casinos and stuff.
Point Break.
Something miles to Graceland. Somebody do some research for me.
Some miles to Graceland.
Something miles to Graceland, like something like 3,000 miles to Graceland or something.
I remember when I was a
Costner.
kid, the PBS or TBS and TBS would always have like the Elvis marathons on his birthday. The day he died, and then on his birthday they would always. So I was like
Clam
seventh
Bake.
grade.
Clam Bake is a good one. There was with the Kissing Cousins. There was what's the other one? King Creole is actually a fantastic movie. One of my favorite Elvis songs, which is Crawfish. Yeah. So anyway, nice that we got to talk about the King a little bit here. So that's good. That's good. I'm a fan. So I used to have an Elvis bust with us here when we did the show, but then I turned the camera sideways. And things got real. So anyway, Dave, Dave, anything you got to go on before we get to our favorite segment?
I can't wait to get to our favorite segment.
All right, so we're gonna kick on to our favorite segment. Here it is, 5 minutes with Natalie Bencivenga.
Hey everybody, I'm Natalie Bencivenga, host of 5 Minutes With. And this week, I am so honored and thrilled to have a very special guest and a wonderful friend with me. His name is Dr. Antoine Douahy. I just love saying his last name, first of all. But he's many things, including the professor of psychiatry and medicine at the University of Pittsburgh Medical School. He is also an addiction psychiatrist. He has authored many books on the topic. He is the go-to guy, as it were, around this topic. And I thought it would be interesting to really talk this particular show, kicking off the new year, around the idea of medical marijuana, and who better to talk to than an addiction specialist. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Great to see you.
It's great to see you too. And you and I have been friends now for a while, and every time we get together, the conversation inevitably turns to current events and things that are going on right in our own backyard. And with medical marijuana being such a topic of conversation, it seems very timely to discuss some of the myths and facts around it. So would you like to share a little bit about some things that people may not really understand about marijuana?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think as you know, this topic has been now really very much, I call it more of a conundrum when we talk about medical marijuana, because it's a very mysterious, substance itself, cannabis, and a lot of the terminology sometimes is confusing to a lot of people. You hear marijuana, you hear cannabis, you hear hemp, you hear CBD, you hear THC, and so fundamentally what we are really going to be discussing here in a sense is the fact that the medical marijuana is the medicinal use of really the marijuana, which is really the dry leaves, the flower, the seeds that come from the cannabis plant, which is really, indica and sativa, you've heard about these things. And a lot of what also really is confusing to a lot of people is a lot of the components that are really available now that we have really found are basically, as I mentioned, the CBD and the THC are what we call cannabinoid. These are the components, in a way, the chemical components, that you really kind of find, in cannabis, and they are really the ones that are in fact used as a part of the medical marijuana really products that we have, different forms that we have really now, particularly available here in Pennsylvania. So really, when we're thinking about it, we're thinking about the use of marijuana as a medicine for any particular really conditions. And we can talk about that in details if you like, but just what we call like a qualifying conditions, like every state has any particular conditions. And always remember one thing here, when we're talking about really marijuana, we're still kind of on the federal level, it's still considered Schedule 1.
Right.
Which is really, similar to really heroin, so really under that sort of category. And obviously on the state level, we have been legalizing medical marijuana. Obviously, that a lot of states also have recreationally legalized really marijuana, not here in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And always remembering, as I mentioned earlier, that you hear sometimes also really the hemp. You hear about hemp oil and all this. That could be also a little bit confusing to people. And the two plants that we're talking about, the cannabis sativa and cannabis indica, are really basically subspecies of the hemp, which really the hemp does not contain that really psychogenic, the psychoactive kind of component, which is a THC, as much as really basically the marijuana itself. So this is what we are really trying to figure out is, in general, how can we use marijuana as really medicine for any particular conditions? And we look at the effects of it, because it affects basically pain, as the pleasure system. It affects really the, people who have nausea and, for example, people who are really undergoing chemotherapy.
Right.
So there are different functions that we are utilizing from what we know with marijuana and really using them in a medicinal way.
And what's interesting is, it's a plant, right? It's been around for a long time. Different groups of people have been using it medicinally and ceremonially for eons. But really what we're talking about now is really the state figuring out that it's, quote unquote, maybe safe enough or good enough to be used as medicine. So how do you dismantle a system that's built on stigma and to be able to use this plant in the way that it was meant to be used?
Yeah, that's a very good question. In fact, obviously the whole struggle that I mentioned earlier about the schism between federal and state, and obviously the one important thing, since really the federal government has not been moving at all when it comes to really, the Schedule 1. Fortunately enough, recently, as the Congress has really passed, the bill decriminalizing marijuana, which is really kind of one big part of it is removing it from the Schedule 1.
Right.
So that's already a huge part of removing that sort of a stigma. In fact, acknowledging that this is a medication, this is in fact a substance that could have a huge potential to really be effective in a lot of medical conditions. And we need to tap into it. And without really removing it from the Schedule 1, it's going to be extremely hard for us to really study it, to really look at its really functions, what it works for, and so this is a big part of it. I believe this has really kind of been removing a big part of that kind of a bill that passed is really a huge historic in a way, and changing our whole culture about how we look at really marijuana, and the other aspect of it is that the public opinions in the US has shifted really dramatically. Exactly. For the past, 15, 20 years, you're talking about now 70 to 75% of the American people would support really legalizing, and also particularly the medical marijuana, programs. And so you look at that, and in fact, it's been, the way I look at it, it's been really getting destigmatized by the people themselves.
That's right.
And from that aspect. And the other aspect of it is that the states have realized, wait a second, okay, the federal, government's not going to do anything about it. We need to take charge here. We have a lot of good potential indications. There's research is kind of really evolving now more and more. Science is telling us that there is a lot of potential for many, many, many marijuana products. And so how about if we really kind of start moving into medically legalizing it? So that aspect has also made it, and particularly I've never ever imagined in my life that I would be certifying people in a sense to really have medical marijuana, whoever thought? I've been here in this country for 27 years. That was 27 years ago. It's like, what are you talking about? It's fascinating. So the other aspect, as you said, in terms of the stigma is the decriminalizing aspect, which, as it has been a lot of the criminal justice system has really punished people, particularly people of color, as for really kind of for offenses basically related to possession of marijuana. And so we're kind of really, we want to really, in a sense, it's we need to figure out how to really destigmatize by also educating the public, by really being more proactive. A lot of a grassroots movement that needs to be more out, which has been happening, to really kind of really in a way debunk these myths that we're talking about. And at the same time, always remembering, you know, there are some risks related to marijuana. The risks are related to particular age population. You know, for example, as you know, the adolescent and young adults, you know, because their brain is like under construction, and any sort of use of really cannabis during that period of time could be potentially damaging. So again, it's been really moving in the right direction. We still need a lot of work to do to really kind of destigmatize it on all levels, whether the criminal justice system, they're all tied together, as you know, the political, social, cultural, you know, and the medicinal piece. So I think, you know, if all these pieces are really, you know, come together and people are mobilized really to debunk a lot of these myths about it, and I think we could be moving, and we're moving in the right direction, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
Correct. Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing up the component of the criminal justice system and the situation of mass incarceration, where there are a lot of people, predominantly Black and brown people, that are sitting in jail, in particular for nonviolent drug offenses, including that of marijuana. So I think that's an incredibly important component when we're talking about intersectional justice as it relates to medical marijuana. And to your point about educating, it's important to be educating the politicians on this, because recently I read this quote that it said, leaders in the Republican state legislature here in Pennsylvania refer to recreational marijuana as reckless and irresponsible. When you hear that, and then you think about the opioid crisis, as an addiction specialist, as a psychiatrist, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, you know, I think this is why, you know, I strongly believe, you know, that a lot of the political opinions that are not science-based have really clearly, you know, like interfered with really understanding or really implementing science. I know we've been struggling with that, you know, and so what I was mentioning about the educating, as you said, maybe educating is not enough. What we need is basically, you know, informing, you know, politicians and people who are involved in that whole process about really the science related to really the medicinal use of marijuana, or basically the science related to recreational aspect, because there is a lot of aspects also that we don't know about. There is still a lot of work that needs to be done to see the effects of recreational really use of cannabis. At the same time, I think the struggle that I have is that a lot of people have a tendency to be on the two opposite sides. Either they are totally pro or totally against. And this is what we've been dealing with in this country, you know, and you see it across, you know.
And there's a lot of gray.
Exactly.
Right? In reality.
Exactly. So I think, you know, big part of it has to be with, which I tell you something, you know, Pennsylvania, you know, with the medical marijuana program that we have, it has really evolved beautifully. And the reason why I'm saying that, because we have leaders like Dr. Rachel Levine, you know, the Secretary of Health, who has really, in a way, who's a champion, big champion, took on that whole program, and then really kind of went against a lot of really these, you know, concerns that you're mentioning, these kind of, how would I say, these, the misinformation, you know, that has been out there, you know, and I think, you know, it's really important not to jump to conclusions. So if we don't have enough studies that have looked at really the impact of recreational use, again, we need to separate recreational use versus, you know, legal medical marijuana, you know, so there are a lot of these decriminalizing, you know, is different than legalizing, you know. So this is the confusing aspect. A lot of people are not well informed, and among them, I believe, are also, you know, politicians, which are a part of really, you know, the community.
Yeah, and I totally agree with all of that. And we need another segment because we need to wrap up this 5 minutes, but we haven't even touched on some of the aspects of future research, especially as it pertains to psychedelics, which is something else I'd like to talk about in another time. But as we close this out, let's talk a little bit about the future of research. What do you think it holds here in Pittsburgh, working at the forefront of this in your profession? What do you think can be achieved in, let's say, the next 5 to 10 years, if we continue moving in this direction?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this great question. Well, first of all, we have, as a part of the medical marijuana program at the state, department, we have what we call the Chapter 20.
Mhm.
The Chapter 20 means, that all academic centers, I believe we are 8 in this in the state of Pennsylvania, really kind of a joint efforts with really a particular, cannabis company to do some really research. So what we need to do is, two things. First of all, when it comes to really, we want to figure out, when it comes to really medical marijuana, we want to figure out what would be really the indications that would be the qualifying condition that would really be the best to really study. And I'll tell you, chronic pain, huge. We have more and more evidence coming out, particularly with what we call the chronic neuropathic pain, that pain related to really nerve damage. Second, anxiety. We have more and more studies that we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking, hopefully, here in Pittsburgh, into really the impact of medical marijuana on chronic pain, anxiety. We want to look at potentially sleep problem, insomnia. PTSD is another one, post-traumatic stress disorder. So I am very optimistic. A lot of really basically institutions, a lot of academic institutions are really getting involved all across the country in getting involved in a lot of studies that would really look at medical marijuana, and particularly, and as you said, also the impact in terms of really the opioid addictions. A lot of people now have been really wondering whether maybe this could be potentially an alternative to people really, instead of really, using any sort of an opioid, using, the medical marijuana as a way to help with chronic pain, or even as a way to help people get off opiates.
Right.
So again, there is still a lot of work that needs to be done, but we are moving in the right direction. I am very optimistic. I am really still hopeful that eventually we're going to be able to remove it, remove the marijuana from really the Schedule 1, so we can be, in a sense, more liberated and more really free to be able to do more work with it.
Well, my hope is for that as well. And thank you so much, Dr. Douahi, for spending a little bit more than 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Natalie. Great seeing you.
Great
Bye-bye.
to see you.
Yeah.
If there was a week to learn about medical marijuana, this was the week.
Yeah, you can get lost talking to that guy.
My God.
I mean, I want to just hang out with him. I mean, literally, like, I just want to kick it with that guy.
He's one of my favorite people. I love Antoine, and he's such an awesome human. And the work that he's doing, he truly is one of the he's one of the most published on this topic in the country. He's spoken everywhere on this topic. He's so knowledgeable. He is the guy to talk to about addiction. And so if he's saying we really need to look again at marijuana as not only something that could support people that are dealing with other types of addiction, to supporting people dealing with all types of pain and anxiety management, he would be the one to talk to. And it seemed, Patrick, because I filmed this before Christmas, it seemed like this will be a good show to start off the new year, because we'll be talking about all these things that we want to accomplish in 2021. And I know medical marijuana is really something that, people are pushing Biden to explore. And we're looking at it on the state level. Fetterman's a big supporter of it.
Should legalize the whole thing, man.
Oh, I agree.
I mean,
so it was just like, and then all this happens. So maybe we're all going to need medical marijuana.
Well, it doesn't even need to be medical, Natalie. Let's just
agree.
legalize small amounts of this thing. And
I agree. But this
let's get a lot of people.
Start.
Let's get a lot of people out of prison.
Amen. Yeah.
That shouldn't be there for that.
Yep.
And let's help people that are dealing with some serious shit.
But I wanted to look at it from like a medical perspective, because I think sometimes people get so emotional when they hear
it's one of those topics.
That it's like, let's just base this really in science, and let's talk about why this would be better serving the communities, if it were legalized in general.
Well, the lieutenant governor just announced he started an exploratory campaign for Senate today. And I'm sure that will be a topic that comes up, because he went to every county in the state of Pennsylvania and did town halls about just that. So he's So I think that that would be a good proponent for it
I agree.
in the state. But this would be a week for I might have to get my medical marijuana card and try it out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's that, you know what I mean? So Yeah, Jackie Page, exactly, Jackie, right?
Yep. Well, and you can't have the one on the one hand people benefiting and profiting from, marijuana now, and have all of these people sitting in prison
Well, the amount
for
of tax
marijuana. It's not right. You have to let people out.
Well, there's a debt, you know what I mean? And
Oh,
there's
yeah.
money that's needed, and everybody's out of work. I mean, not everybody, just, me.
Just about.
But, yeah, but yeah, with this COVID thing, I mean, now would be the time. And for whatever reason, Pennsylvania is living in some kind of archaic times. New Jersey's passing it. I mean, it's just like, I don't understand. Like,
I think it's all fear mongering. I really
yeah, but
do.
it's a no-brainer for me. But then I start talking about that, and I'm like, I was just talking earlier today. I was like, hey, did you go to the state store? You know what I mean? Like, I was really excited. They're open till 4 on Sundays. You know what I mean? I'm forgetting that Pennsylvania is like going into another town in another state, and like trying to get a 6-pack to go from a bar. You get laughed out of the place. So it's like a whole. Anyway, what do I know? But anyway, yeah, great guest again.
Thank you. I was really excited to be able to chat with him. I'd been trying to get him on for a few months, and UPMC finally let him do it. So
well, that's great. I'm glad they did. And thank you to UPMC for having him come on, and thank him. He can come back anytime.
Yeah, it would be fun to just have him on.
Yeah,
like,
he should just
chat with.
I would,
especially about psychedelics. That'd be cool.
Well, I'd love him to stay for the whole hour and talk about absolutely anything that we're talking about.
And he'd talk too. He likes it
because he seems like, it seems like that would be the thing. Yes, Jackie, we are.
I agree, Jackie.
But yeah. So outside of that, I know it's been crazy. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, Wednesday kind of did that, and then with this breaking news that the 20th Amendment to the Constitution is now because since nobody in actual Congress or in government is going to do anything to reprimand Donald Trump, Twitter had to come in and do the 20th Amendment of tonight. So that's the news going. But outside of that, with the crazy stuff happening this week. Natalie's a nationally syndicated advice columnist, and I'm wondering. I mean, from
I'm not
the
laughing.
holiday,
It all just seems so everything just seems so ridiculous this week, because it's like there was an attempted coup.
Watching that attempted coup happen and seeing what's coming out now.
Yeah.
Seeing the footage that's coming out, because all those people, the terrorists who kind of stormed the thing, they all took video and cell phone videos, and because they didn't believe in COVID or wearing a mask, we have their faces. A lot of people have already been arrested. A lot more should be. But they took cell phone video, and what I don't understand is, do you follow Sean King on Twitter?
I know him. Yeah.
Sean's been putting a lot of videos out about just basically that he's compiling, and of entry points and stuff like that. There was a BuzzFeed article that was just like 39 terrifying pictures that you didn't realize from this attempted coup, and people were showing up with sledgehammers and ladders and a noose and lots of zip ties and stuff to build gallows, their own pepper spray, their own, they knew where to go. A lot of congressmen and a lot of senators are saying, this is the office that I work out of. There's no name on it, and it's hard to find. Here's my office with my nameplate on it, and no one touched it, but they came harassing my steps. So it's like, I think we're going to find out more and more terrifying things of that. It was one of the first things that felt kind of like a 9/11 moment for me. It kind of shook me when I watched that shit unfold.
Yeah, especially when you compare what I found really disgusting about the whole thing was the ease in which it went from white privilege to white power so quickly, because they were allowed in that space so easily.
Yeah.
And you quickly realize when you look back at the summer and the effort that was being used to keep Black and brown people out of these spaces, how it wasn't being utilized in any way. It really just reinforced, where those people were, what side they were on, and the fact that they will do anything to uphold the delusion that is white supremacy. And I just found that to be just really terrifying in and of itself. And then to hear about what was going on with journalists, several journalists were attacked inside the building, and young woman, they ripped her. She was wearing, I guess, a New York Times badge. Apparently they ripped it off of her. Somehow they saw it on her and took it from her. And then she thought she was going to die until the police arrived. And then the police, because she didn't have her badge, they thought she was one of the terrorists. So they were holding her at gunpoint. And then 2 journalists were running down the hall screaming, she's a journalist, she's a journalist. So I just want to give a shout out to all of the journalists and photojournalists and people that were there documenting what was going on, because they were truly putting their lives in danger, so that we could all bear witness to this insurrection.
And they have been. Yeah, we're hoping to have some people that were on the ground there inside the building next week. So it's just crazy, and more is going to come out about this, and I'm sure if people are watching, you can probably find out more about this on the other news networks than what we're talking about here. We're just kind of seeing what we saw there. But the more, I think more and more stories are going to be coming out about what happened, and the more that this gets investigated, where it might get really scary, where the more you're going to find out, because different camera angles, you see different things that you weren't aware of.
That's right.
And the fact that I'm sure there were some people mixed up in there that were just kind of at the rally and went for a walk, and the next thing you know, look at me, I'm going to overthrow the government. I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but you have to be thankful that the senators and House members, congressmen, and their staff were able to get evacuated, because it seems like it was pretty close. And when you see them coming in with all those zip ties and a noose and stuff like that, and their own weapons, pipe bombs, stuff like that. There's more stuff that we don't know. So I don't know.
And I think that's what's concerning
Jackie
me.
Page, black folks wouldn't have got that far. Absolutely right.
It's true.
The double standard isn't surprising to me, but to see it like that was heartbreaking. I cried. My grandson should have better. Absolutely, Jackie.
Jackie, we feel that.
That's so true. I mean, having seen and been a part of other protest marches and stuff, you couldn't have, there was more security outside Mayor Peduto's house. I don't know. I mean, I understand, but to talk to people that were in the room, and you have the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader, and they're yelling to send in the National Guard, and they can't get the order. It has to come from up top, and they're not getting it, and an hour and a half goes by.
Right.
This is Republican and Democrat in there. You know what I mean? So it's it's
to them, though, it's not about Republican and Democrat. It's Trump supporters and everybody else.
Yeah. All right. So to stop. Go ahead, Pete. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I was kind of in a dilemma, about when it was all unfolding, because my daughter was upstairs, doing her schoolwork. She comes downstairs and she kind of looks at the TV, and I was glued to CNN at that point, and was I'm not going I need to see what happens. But I'm she's kind of what's going on? And I'm she's 11, she's going to be 12 in a couple weeks. And I'm how do I bring her into this and try to expose her to this? Do I, I'm not sheltering her from not showing it to her, but it's also, she's 12. So she doesn't really, I don't know if she really is paying attention to or not. It's not on TikTok. I bet if it was on TikTok, she'd be paying attention. But not to make light of it, but it was just how do you manage that as a parent too? That was the dilemma I was in, because I was I'm not moving from the I watch television.
Right. And I think that's a totally fair question. And my stepson and I, who's 17, we've been having a lot of conversations around this. And I was saying to him, what are the teachers saying to the students the next day? And I sat in on him on the classes, and I was disappointed that none of them really brought it up, because those are seniors in high school. This is a moment in history that I think they were all well enough aware of. And I don't think we do our children any service by shielding them from this. But to your point, when they're 11, how do you talk about it in a way that's age appropriate?
Right.
But she knows who Donald Trump is. I'm sure. If she's on TikTok, I guarantee you she knows what's going on, because TikTok, those kids on TikTok,
Satchel has questions.
They are involved politically, and especially with social justice movements. So, but it's how much do you discuss? And I think that's the hardest part of all of this. It was
also weird that school wasn't the teachers weren't
no.
All right, we're calling it for the day.
No, I was shocked. I thought for sure, especially in his history class, I thought, well, this will be it. They're going to talk about this.
People died. Okay. And not just the insurgents. A DC Metro police officer died, was hit in the head with a fire extinguisher. and later died. One woman was shot inside, and somebody tased himself to death. Like lots of shit was happening.
They were smashing fucking windows. They were taking the podiums. They were going through like Congress people's desks. Like,
well, I tell you what, it was the first time. It was one thing that I took from it was, it looked like Republicans finally took a stand.
But up bump.
Boom, the stand.
I got it.
The Speaker of the House. That guy got arrested, by the way.
Yes, he did. Thankfully.
Well, and then there's all the conspiracy theories that, like, oh, he was at a Black Lives Matter protest. Yeah, he was probably there as a fucking
I was gonna say,
Trump agitator who's like smashing windows there to say, look what BLM did. That shit.
It's all going to come out in the wash, and hopefully everyone that's in there that was smart enough to show their face. That's the only thing I'm thankful for, that they're morons and they would the anti-maskers. But I mean, why would they think anything bad would happen? They were getting walked in. Right. I saw a couple of the police were pushing back in a couple of places, but other doors, it was literally like, oh, hey, yeah, what's up? Oh, go ahead. It's crazy. It was total anarchy, and it didn't have to be. Okay. No. And this is why you're going to have theories about what's happened here, but whatever. We could talk about this all night.
Yeah, I was listening to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, and he had Ronald Reagan Jr. on there today.
I wanted to see that, and I listened to it, and I didn't get to yet. So was it good?
I only made it maybe 20 minutes into it, or so 15, 20 minutes into it. I want to finish it. But it was really interesting because they were kind of talking about how it's really Trump was just excited to see his merchandise being moved, to him, that's all he really cared about. He didn't care that they were smashing up the Capitol. He doesn't have any respect for democracy.
He sent them there. There's video of him watching the from the back, the Trumps are dancing. You know what I mean? Like watching the rally move down, and he goes back to the White House to kick it and then turn off all the lights because it was one of the anyway. Look, we could talk about this all night, and we'll probably be talking about this for the rest of this show. But there's some big news. Okay.
Okay.
The Jagoff poll. I think we're about time to crown.
I need to know.
I thought you were going to say you're having another child, Patrick.
No.
Yeah, another quarantine baby.
No.
Or is Eileen running away from you every time you come around?
Why would the quarantine be any different? So anyway, let's get wait.
I agree with Jackie.
Cameras were everywhere, and these idiots can find themselves. Hopefully, a lot of them posted the videos themselves.
That was the level of. Just
How about the onion girl? How about the onion girl? The girl with the onion.
Oh, they pepper spray me. It's like
the onion. She had an onion in a friggin' towel, and she was rubbing an onion in her face, and you could see the onion. And she was like, "They pepper sprayed me. It's the revolution. We're taking the Senate." And I'm like, oh my God, she has an onion in her hand. Anyway, look, we can make fun of this. It was very goddamn serious.
The thing is, they don't.
Of course, but you have to. If you don't find the humor, you will lose your mind.
I know, but speaking of humor, I really want to crown the winner of the friggin' Jagoff poll. I want to do a check-in here. This has been Pete's been trying to get this thing over since week 2 of the Jagoff poll. He hates it. Has tried his best to make it implode. Pete. He even pulled. I
had to make 100 graphics for this thing.
He closed the voting 2 days early, and we had to reopen it.
I didn't realize
the GOP of the Jagoff poll.
You think we're not going to do it like a drum roll at least? Okay, so check this out. Okay, here we are. This is it. It's on. Dave, for the last time for the Engine House 25 Winery Jagoff poll, please, Dave, get it going.
Help us.
This is
For the love of God! The year was 2020.
What?
3 crazy dudes, 4 crazy dudes, 5 crazy dudes and dudesettes and girls and guys and lots of people got together under the umbrella of Alone Together Pittsburgh to make one thing happen, one goal, one value held above all else, a beacon in the dark. The Jagoff. A battle royale so fierce that everyone would forget 2020. Everybody would forget the pandemic. Everybody would forget their hopes and their dreams and surrender to the world of the Jagoff. And tonight, finally, Kurt Angle versus Cookie Table. We bring this fucker to an end. 'Cause it must end. Are you ready?
I'm not ready, but I'm not ready to say goodbye, but I think it's time.
There's no easy way to do this, but with 1,564 votes, the final poll, the final jag-off, I don't know who the winner is. Behind this button, secure your first digital holidays with Bitfender. Bitfender, buy now, get the complete online protection and privacy.
Stop it.
Kurt Angle has lost to the Cookie Table, 53% to 47%. It is done.
Oh my gosh.
That's right, Kurt Angle. I bet you're feeling the burn now, Kurt Angle. Let's check in with Bunny Cam. How's Bunny feel about this? Yep, that's how I feel too, Bunny.
Wow.
Ricky Schroeder. Nat B. Patricia Jordan.
I can't believe it.
We come to the end of the road. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great year. This is the last you'll be hearing from Alone Together Pittsburgh. This is it. We're done. The band is breaking up.
Our last waltz.
Time for changes. 2021. Number one, is it the beginning or the end? Hopefully the end for us.
But like we had said before,
Baby.
the show still goes on, folks. But now I'm going to announce Jag-Off Poll 2. No, I'm kidding.
I was
I'm
actually
kidding.
like, is that what's coming? Because
No. I just wanted to see Pete's head drop for a second. The Jag-Off Poll 2. All right, so we will still have polls from time to time. We will still have overnight and in-show polls, but they will not be the bracket poll of the Jag-Off poll, unless for some odd goddamn reason. Who knows why we could do it. But anyway, yeah, thank you all. Thank you to Engine House 25 Winery for sponsoring that for so long. We're gonna have to keep. We're gonna have to come up with another clever input for eh25.com to.
Or let's just take a week off and maybe move into something new. Like,
That's what we
Yeah, I
should
think
do.
we should just do pranks. We'll get into pranks.
Yeah, guys, pranks.
that sounds like a great idea.
So Pittsburgh, like Jackie said, Pittsburgh
love
likes to
it.
eat more than anything. Next week we will have. I think we should invite Hal B. Klein to come on to talk about the cookie tables and its significance. It was his favorite. I asked him if he wanted to be on tonight, but he was not sure who was going to win. I was not sure who was going to win, and he didn't want to be on to talk about it if it lost. But so now we're probably going to have Hal on next week to talk about this. Maybe we'll see if Kurt Angle wants to come on, but I don't know why he would at this point. But here's to Kurt Angle to being the sleeper of the Jag-Off poll. We did not see him coming. He literally had lots of input, lots of input. He got probably more votes than anybody on the way to the finals. But the cookie table kind of reigned supreme. What ended up happening, what may have happened there, was that let's look at the cookie table's meteoric rise here. Where did the cookie table start? In which bracket there?
I wanted to ask Nat, did you have a cookie table at your wedding, Nat?
My mother had called in all of her Italian mother favors from all the other women that she had done cookies for their cookie tables. So we didn't have a cookie table. We had like 6. It was like the cookie
Like a
table.
curated
mob.
cookie table?
It was like, yeah, my mom's like, I'm calling it in. And I'm like, who are you calling? Like all of these women just ascended with their cookies. It was a little overwhelming. Yeah. So yes.
Tommy,
lot
I
of
have
cookies.
Tommy. If you look at the Instagram stories, there's a Cookie Monster in our Instagram story for tonight's show. But yeah, so Natalie had a cookie mob. So there you go, Pete.
Did you?
I did not have a cookie table. No,
Get out.
we did not have a cookie table.
Get out.
We're Mr. and Mrs. Pittsburgh. We didn't have a cookie table. Things were wild. Things were crazy. We had a cookie bar. How about that? We had a bar.
That's fine.
Without cookies. Instead of a cookie table, we had a very large open bar. All right, so the cookie table, if we look at its rise here, the cookie table beat the Permane sandwich. It beat NAT. okay, which beat Red Up, which is huge. The cookie table beat the Mr. Yuck sticker. And then the cookie table finally beat the Cinderella story of Mayor Bill Peduto's beard.
Cookies make you so happy.
And it's a Pittsburgh thing. Very much.
Yes.
It's born in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
It started here. It's spread now. I mean, I know it's tri-state at least, but like it is something that just organically came from Pittsburgh, and I didn't know it wasn't a national thing.
I didn't either.
Much like I didn't know that you could buy like alcohol at a Costco in every other state in the union. But yeah, so.
No, I agree. I started going to other weddings and I was like, where's your cookie table? And they were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, a cookie table. Come on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason why I
there
came
we
to this
go.
wedding.
There we go. There it is, folks.
That's actual footage of me at the cookie table. So there you go.
Cookie table is fantastic, but I do not want to take away from Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle's rise was pretty epic as well. Maybe we should go through that and play let's just imagine like a Sarah McLachlan song playing behind it, because I'm telling you, Kurt Angle, again, a local homegrown boy, Olympic gold medalist with a broken neck, went on to great heights in professional wrestling. Let's see. Kurt Angle beat Bruno Sammartino. No one saw that coming. Kurt Angle beat the film The Deer Hunter. Kurt Angle beat the word yins. Kurt Angle beat. Don't play it, Dave. Kurt Angle beat me in the Batman movie. So that is some shit right there. All right. So props to you. And Kurt Angle beat Michael Keaton. That was the biggest showdown of the whole thing. A lot of people said like that was the Super Bowl and this is like a little thing, but people weren't realizing that the strength of the cookie table. I know somebody posted this poll on the cookie table Facebook group, which is home to 54,000 Facebookers. So that's good. So anyway, thank you all very much.
Personally, I'm glad a person didn't win. Like, I like the idea that an inanimate object,
there was only 4 people in the goddamn poll to begin with. It just happened that they were they just kept facing off against each other. It wasn't supposed to happen. We basically this thing kind of this was an organic poll, if you will, if you have been. But it's over now, and props. But maybe we will retire the name of the Jagoff poll. Snacks, what do you think? Yeah, I think Snacks is in there too. That's my boy, Snacks. That's a good boy. That's a good Snacks. That's a good Snacks. Anyway, so that's our show for tonight. I think that's
we got through it.
We did. We got through it with the technical problems and everything else. And it has so congratulations to the 150 some odd contestants that were the words, the phrases, the places, the directions, everything that was in the Jagoff poll. We salute you all, and it was all out of love for Pittsburgh. But the real winner of the Jagoff poll is Fred Rogers. And we'll say this right now, Fred Rogers, we need him now more than ever, but we're also looking for helpers here on the show here. If you want to give we want to give a spotlight to anyone who's doing good in these dark times, not just from this pandemic, which is having really horrible numbers and days nationwide. Exactly, right? This is our COVID color chart here. But we are looking for helpers. So if you know anybody that's helping out, that's going above and beyond, that's helping out their neighbors from big to small. We've had people on the show that ran a 47-mile marathon in their backyard to raise money for the food bank, and then some. So anybody who's trying to help out, do it. Alone Together Pittsburgh or Alone Together PGH at gmail.com. So that's going to be it. We're going to have some more fun guests coming out soon. Next week, you cannot wait for them. Natalie B is going to be back. Dave Bracey's going to be with us on Friday. Kate Romaine's going to be here. And I don't know if Erin Hart's going to be there or if she's going to send us somebody great, because we also want to thank another fantastic sponsor of ours that you all should check out, farmtotablepa.com. Keep it real, keep it local. You can find out amazing things. It is a perfect resource of different farm boxes, farm stands, farmers markets, CSAs, where you can go get it from the farms directly, and how you can go and how to be sustainable and keeping it real, keeping it local right here in Pittsburgh. So that's it. And one more thing, we also don't want to forget here, because we have all these animal videos at the top. we've had a lot of birds lately, and I want to thank the only bird-friendly coffee roaster here in the Pittsburgh area, and that would be Red Start Roasters. So if you go to redstartroasters.com, use the coupon code TOGETHERPGH, you'll receive 10% off your order. Red Start Roasters, the only bird-friendly coffee roaster. They're so bird-friendly, it's the only coffee they serve at the aviary. That's right. They also now, since we've been doing the show, they have a brick and mortar spot in the East End. You can go in and get your coffee, but you don't have to. They're doing free delivery in the 412 during the pandemic. So go to redstartroasters.com. If you live in the Pittsburgh area, the delivery fee will be waived. That coffee will be at your door, lickety split. redstartroasters.com. So that's it for me for now. I'm glad to get this week behind us. I don't know what's going to come. I don't know what's going to happen over the next 12 days. But shit, I'm glad I'm friends with you guys. So thank everybody very much for being out here. Remember, take care of each other. Keep the distance. Keep your masks on. Pete, got anything to add?
I think next week we should have Bunny and Snacks do a sleep off. We just have 2 dog cams going all Thursday. That's the only thing that happens on Thursday.
Okay. All right, maybe we'll do that. I mean, watch our viewership go up. Like people like just watching the Yule log burning for the Christmas channel. So it's just nothing but a Yule log burning. Just
like our
dogs
Eagle
sleeping.
Cam.
Exactly. That would be our Eagle Cam. That's it. Dave, you got anything to add before we wrap up this week?
Pranks. We're going to do some sweet pranks coming next week. It's going to be great. We're going to start this prank show. It's going to be funny. It's going to be funny, but it's going to have a big heart. A prank show with a heart. That's our angle.
Sounds good. Peace out, Tara Mays. Natalie, anything you add?
Yeah, next week, if we're talking about helpers, my 5 Minutes With is focused on some local Pittsburgh helpers. So I think it's going to be a nice segment. It's going to be shorter, I promise. Thanks for bearing with me.
Hey, it could have gone at least another half hour tonight.
That guy's got my vote for the next Doctor Who easily.
Yeah.
Oh, he's amazing. Plus fashion. Anyway,
you have no idea.
All right. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Just to keep things real, we should probably let Sally Wiggin have our last word.
When I walk out and there's someone without a mask and they come too close to me, I'm just racked with fear, and then I want to punch them in the face.
I love her so much.
She's a goddamn treasure.
She is a legend.
Anyway, thank you all. Thank you for being alone and together with us. Keep it safe. We're going to get through this together, and we will be doing the show until we don't.
Kurt Angle.
I'm sorry, Kurt Angle, and I'm sorry to Michael Cunningham if you're still watching. Mike was ready to chime on the show. We sent him the link just in case if Kurt was going to win, he was going to do a victory lap in his Kurt Angle singlet. But to no avail. I don't think he can handle it. I think he probably feels like it's a playoff loss or like a Super Bowl loss for the Steelers right now. So he's hurting. So sorry to Mike. Sorry to Kurt Angle. But you know what? You are a GD treasure as well. So is everybody on the poll. Thank you all very much. And we'll be back Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Stay safe, Pittsburgh.
Bye, everybody. Brrrr.